a train travelling at 90 miles per hour derails in southwest London after hitting an object. There are no injuries, but there is widespread disruption. We start tonight with serious travel disruption on one of our busiest railway lines after a train travelling at 90 miles per hour struck an object on the line and derailed. No one was injured, and Network Rail says all passengers were safely escorted from the train. South Western Railway has issued a warning for people not to travel on the Woking to Waterloo route, and in a moment we'll get the latest from our reporter at the station. First, here's our transport correspondent, Tom Edwards.
A stranded train at Walton-on-Thames in southwest London. Just before 6 a.m. it was the first train through here when, travelling at 90 miles an hour, it hit an object on the track and derailed. The train stayed upright, but it caused major damage, ripping out cabling and 60 metres of the power rail. Nick Dransfield was on the train at the time.
As we went past Woking, heading towards Walton-on-Thames, we hit something. There was a loud bang, and then the train juddered and performed an emergency stop. Sparks were erupting up the side of the train, clearly visible out of the window, and we performed an emergency stop, which seemed to go on for an awful long time. And you're just hoping sincerely that it didn't get any worse from there. Obviously, having driven a car and what have you, you always fear that you may end up hitting something else or obviously on a train, derailing.
So at the moment, we are investigating exactly what's caused this. But our priority is to move the train and to carry out the essential repairs through the rest of today to get the trains running again to allow passengers to make their journeys.
These are the derailed front wheels of the train. What was on the track hasn't been identified, but engineering work had just finished a few hours earlier. The incident happened on the fast line at Walton-on-Thames between Woking and Waterloo. The train was heading into London. At Waterloo, it has meant many cancellations and many trains not going anywhere, and no trains at all between Woking and the capital all day.
Very frustrating, very stressful.
By the time I got to Surbiton station, the trains were cancelled or delayed.
It's very annoying, especially when I'm trying to get on time to things and make it back to my family.
Rail accident investigators have already visited the site. Experts say it could have been much worse.
The train was travelling at 90 miles an hour, and if it had derailed completely rather than just a couple of front wheels coming off, then it could have been a very serious incident, particularly if the train had collapsed on its side, and so it's very fortunate that nothing worse happened.
There were no injuries to staff or passengers who were evacuated from the train. No services, though, are expected between Woking and Waterloo until tomorrow at the earliest. Considerable repairs need to be done. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
A 25-year-old has been charged with arson after a fire at a block of flats in Kensington on Friday. Today, the Met released dramatic video of the moment officers ran into the burning building. 7 officers were among 13 people who were taken to hospital for smoke inhalation. Will Davies now on the officers who braved the flames.
The fire had already taken hold and was ripping through the block of flats on Friday night when the police arrived. They kicked down the door and rushed in. This footage taken from one of the officers' body cams. They rescued who they could, shouting instructions to those trapped inside. From a flat opposite, a resident filmed the police smashing the window. They started spraying fire extinguishers. But despite their efforts, the ground floor became engulfed in flames. It was then the police started evacuating anyone living nearby as the fire engines arrived.
Oh my God!
Kat filmed her escape.
I thought it was going to be contained, but apparently not. So then the police, thankfully, banged on our door like at least 3 times and so said, get out right now. It's time to evacuate. So when we rushed down to the street, there was about like 150 people that were evacuated.
The fire crews evacuated everyone still inside the burning block of flats on Emperor's Gate in Kensington. 6 of the residents and 7 police officers were taken to hospital for treatment for smoke inhalation. They've all now been released. Police chiefs say it could have been so much worse. if it hadn't been for the bravery of the first officers on the scene.
The council say the majority of residents have now returned to their homes here on Emperor's Gate, but that a small number can't return because their homes are uninhabitable because of the damage caused by the fire.
One man, 25-year-old Wesley Farias, has been charged with arson with intent to endanger life. The police investigation continues. Will Davies, ITV News.
Around 160 people had to be evacuated from a block of flats in South Kensington and 13 taken to hospital after a fire on Friday. This dramatic footage shows the moment officers from the Met forced their way into the five-storey block. A man's been arrested on suspicion of arson.